And welcome to Fast Horses Today for Saturday. Today is October 11th, and there's some big racing over in and around the country, but we're going to focus in on Santa Anita today. I've got a few plays, including a late pick 5 today, so let's get started over at the Great Race Place. So we're going to start out in the third race where I have a win bet here. Third race has an approximate post time about 2:03 Pacific time, so that's about 4 o'clock here, Central Time Zone. This is a starter allowance race on the grass, 6 furlongs on the grass, so that's the flat grass course. They're sprinting today, 3-year-olds and up. Starter allowance have started for 50,000 or less, or looking to be claimed for 50,000, to put them in here. So I've got a horse here that's dropping in. I think dropping into a good spot. We probably get a good price on the horse. That being the 5, the Rabbi. The Rabbi comes in for the Ron Ellis barn. Ayuso takes the call. I like the jock switch. Valdivia had been riding this horse over at Del Mar in his last 3 starts. I thought the horse ran even races. Probably had some excuses there, running with some tougher horses. Also, Valdivia was having a hard time winning races. So I think the switch over to Ayuso is going to be a big one. Ayuso has ridden really well. He's ridden well for Ron Ellis as well. And I like the fact that Ellis is dropping this horse in here. I think they're getting realistic. I know they paid some good money here. The folks at Double Down Stables, I think that's a local outfit here from Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. But, these folks have been in the game a long, long time, so they're getting realistic here. This horse does own a win over the sprint distance of 6 furlongs at Santa Anita. It blew up the tote board in his first start. That was back in May of 24. He won at 40-1. So hasn't won since, but, been facing tougher. I think this is a big dip in class. There's not a whole lot here, and I think the Rabbi is going to be pretty tough here. So I could see him storming home at a nice price. We got 4-1 in the program here. I think we'll probably get that, maybe even a little more. So in the third race, we're going to make a win bet on the 5-horse, the Rabbi. Now let's move over to the 5th race. 5th race does start the late pick 5 over at Santa Anita today. Approximate post time about 3:06 Pacific, so 5:06 here Central. This is a maiden $50,000 claiming race, 6 furlongs on the flat grass course. I've got 2 horses here I'm going to put in. I think, one of these 2 should get it started. I'm going to put the 3 who is burning rubber for Sean McCarthy. Juan Hernandez takes the call. Hernandez had ridden this horse one time at Santa Anita back in the springtime in a 6 furlong grass sprint at 50,000. Rode the horse well. The horse runs anywhere, similar to that, might be tough here. Run against Tougher his last 2 starts over at Del Mar sprinting on the grass. He had run with Tougher, as I mentioned, with maiden special weights, running up against the other horse that I'm going to put in here, Reno. They kind of ran together here. I think it's going to be one of these 2 here. So we'll put in the 3 burning rubber and also put in the 7 who will be your program favorite and probably your betting favorite, the 7 being Reno. For Peter Urton, Hector Barrios takes the call. This horse is 7-5 in the program. Reno. Looks like they're just getting realistic with him. This is a 5-year-old, only making his 5th start of his career, so he's had some problems along the way. A big purchase price, $240,000 originally, and they're probably just looking to win a race here. Horses run well in the maiden special ranks, so I think this drop to 50 will make him much faster. He'll be tough, so we're going to put the 3 and the 7 here to start off the pick 5. Let's move to the 6th race of the day. 6th race is a mile on the dirt. It is a maiden special weight for filly 2-year-olds. So really nice here that they're sending the 2-year-olds long to go, a mile here. So I've got 2 horses here, including a win bet I'm going to make. I like the 1 horse here, Total Val, for the Richard Mandela barn, and Mirko DeMuro on the horse here. Now, DeMuro had ridden this horse twice, rode her over at Del Mar in sprint races. And, in watching the film of this horse, I thought she ran evenly enough. It looks like she didn't want anything to do with sprinting. Showed a little ability. I think the move to 2 turns will really help her. Probably from the 1 hole, she'll be breaking a lot closer. I mean, who knows if she goes for the lead or not, but I think this horse will be finishing up nicely, and I really think the change to 2 turns is really what this horse needs. She's 6-1 in the program, so we'll make a win bet on Total Val. And then for pick 5 purposes, we'll put the 1 Total Val in, and then we'll put the 4 horse who is Super Corredora for John Sadler, Hector Barrios here. Now this horse also ran twice over at Del Mar, and it looks to me like she probably didn't want to sprint either. She's by Gun Runner, big purchase price here. I thought she ran some nice even races, so maybe the stretch out to 2 turns will make this girl faster, so we'll put her in there as well. We'll put the 1 and the 4 in the 6th race and that win bet on the 1 horse. Total Val. All right, now let's move over to the 7th race of the day. Seventh race is the feature race. It's the California Flag, going 6.5 furlongs down the hill. These are Calbreds, older horses, and it's a $100,000 purse. So the California Flag, a nice race signed on here. Always nice to see them running down the hill. I think it's kind of open. I think several horses have a big shot here. I'm going to put 4 horses in. I'm going to put Lovesick Blues for Librato Baraccio, Giovanni Franco. Now this was the big winner of the Grade 1 Bing Crosby on the dirt over at Del Mar. That was a huge race that this horse ran that day. The Bing Crosby, of course, being run on dirt, but I mean, this horse showed a lot of ability there. But if you look at this horse's past performances, this horse has done a lot of work on the grass and a lot of work on the down the hill course and running well. So 5-2 here. Baraccio gave this horse a bit of a break since the Bing Crosby. We haven't seen him run since then. I think this horse is qualified for the Breeders' Cup dirt sprint based on that Bing Crosby win. But, he's putting this horse in, as a prep, for that Breeders' Cup sprint race at Del Mar later this month. So we'll put Lovesick Blues at 5-2. Going to also put the 4-horse Sir Rocket from Neil Drysdale, Armando Ayuso. This horse has been sharp lately. Been sharp, winning on both surfaces, running, at Del Mar on the dirt and the turf, winning on both surfaces there, so showed versatility. Also showed a good run down the hill at Santa Anita. Did that back in June, losing by a head. This horse is sharp now, and, this kind of horse where looks like there's a lot of speed signed on here in the California Flag, which, certainly, is expected in a race like this. Sir Rocket could be coming late, and I like him on this type of horse. We'll put the 4-horse at 10-1, that being Sir Rocket. Going to also put the 6-horse, who is Mano Rose. Mano Rose has been one of the better Calbred sprinters on the circuit over the last couple years. This horse has done it all as well, has won on the dirt, has won on the turf, run short, run long. 7-2 here in the program. Maldonado takes the call again for Jeff Mullins. Maldonado's been a fixture here. Now, this horse, had a great year last year in 2024. Something apparently went amiss. We've only seen him once running this year. They brought him in for the E.B. Johnston over at Los Alamitos at a mile, and he took care of the business nicely there. Certainly Mano Rose has a lot of experience on the grass, has run, at Santa Anita on the grass. I don't see that this horse has run down the hill, but based on his running style and his versatility, I don't think the hill will really be a problem for him. So we'll put Mano Rose in here. And then finally, as a long shot, I'm going to put the 7, Stamp My Passport, for Leonard Powell, Diego Herrera here. Now, this horse certainly has been knocking around with tougher horses running in the open company races. But, Stamp My Passport did get it done in the California ranks as well, winning a couple races there, winning a couple races on the turf at Santa Anita. So, as I mentioned, I think there's a lot of speed signed on here. And with that lot of speed, you never know. There could be horses flying late. I think Stamp My Passport, coming off of long races, certainly could fit that profile and maybe upset the apple cart at 20-1. So we will put the 2, 4, 6, and 7 there in this California Flag, being the 7th race. All right, now the 8th race of the day. 8th race, I'm going to single a horse here, make a win bet on this horse as well. 8th race is 5.5 furlongs on the dirt. This is a $50,000 Calbred maiden claiming for 2-year-olds. And I think there's a horse here I like. I'm going to make a win bet on this horse and single this horse. That being the 6-horse, I'm Not Vanilla Sky, from Mark Glatt, Kazushi Kimura on the horse. Now, Kimura, disappointed a lot of folks yesterday, losing, for Mark Glatt on a nice price there on that 3-horse yesterday. So hopefully he can make amends here. I'm Not Vanilla Sky has run twice in her career, both in special weight ranks there at Del Mar. She had the misfortune of being on the rail both times. Not always the place you want to be in those Del Mar sprints, but she gets off the rail today. They're dropping her to 50,000. I thought she ran some even races here. I think the drop-in class is what she needs. The Mark Glatt barn has been really good at doing this and spotting their horses, getting realistic, dropping them when they need to, and they seem to come through and win. So I'm Not Vanilla Sky is 5-2 in the program, so certainly no secret here, but I think she's a worthwhile single in a field that just doesn't look all that talented. So I think the drop-in class should make her really fast today. That being the 6-horse, I'm Not Vanilla Sky. We'll also make a win bet as well as singling her here in this 8th race. All right, now let's go to the 9th race of the day. 9th race being the last race. And I've got several horses here. This looks like an open race. We've got a lot of horses in coverage. Hopefully get some prices here and have 5 horses to pay us off. Will be a nice spot to be in. The 9th race here is a 1.125 miles on the grass. This is a second level allowance race, or you could be claimed for $80,000 if they're put in for that. Several of them are in for the tag. I'm going to put 5 horses in here. Like I said, I think it's an open race. There's some old timers who have definitely shown some nice ability at one time. Maybe they come up and bite you. That's kind of how I see this. I'm going to put the 1 Phosphorescence from Michael McCarthy, Ricardo Gonzalez on the horse here. Now, this horse certainly has knocked around in the allowance ranks, and has won some races on the turf, has a pretty good record at Santa Anita, 2 wins out of 9 starts. So, it's done some damage there on the Santa Anita turf course. It's just a matter of, probably getting a good trip, and maybe finishing up. Like I said, I think it's a very wide open race where you got to have several horses in coverage. I could see Phosphorescence getting it done here. 15-1 in the program. We'll see if we can get that. I'm going to put the 2 horse, Allegato from Mark Glatt. Mark Glatt legs up Abel Lascano. Blinkers on this horse, so a couple changes, putting blinkers on, putting Lascano on the horse. Now, Lascano has won some races for the Glatt Barn, over the last several meets as well. And, Allegato is also a horse who's done some nice work over the Santa Anita grass. Now, this horse, being by Kitten's Joy, as a Calbred, it's a little unique there. So I know this horse has been knocking around the turf races, and certainly is, one of those horses. He's 8 years old now. He could certainly come up and bite you as well if you didn't have him, but he's 8-1 in the program. We'll put Allegato in here. Going to also put the 3 horse was Old Pal. Old Pal, also from Mark Glatt. Kazushi Kimura takes the call here. Glatt's got a couple. Now, Old Pal also has done well at the Santa Anita grass course, with pretty much all of his damage being done at Santa Anita on the grass. Old Pal's done also a lot of damage in these 2 turn races. Does like the 1.125 miles, being 2 out of 3 winners there at this distance, so certainly likes to run this distance. 3-1 in the program. Old Pal certainly worth putting in there. Going to also put the 5 horse who was Lamas for the Jeff Mullins barn. Now, Mullins puts this horse in for 80, so that's why this horse qualifies. He claimed this horse for 80 back in the springtime, off of Manny Padilla, and only had 1 start since the claim. But Mullins is a guy who could certainly get him ready, and certainly is good on the turf. So Mullins, realistic here, putting this horse in for the 80 and saying, I think we could win this race. If you want to claim the horse back for 80, be their guest. So Kyle Frey gets on. Kyle Frey, I'm not sure what's going on with him lately. It's been kind of cold at Santa Anita, so we'll see if Kyle Frey can, get back onto good riding again, and see if we can get it done with Lamas, the 5 horse being at 6-1 in the program. And then finally, we're going to put the 6 horse, so City Exile. City Exile for Phil D'Amato, Juan Hernandez. Phil D'Amato on the turf at Santa Anita is always a dangerous proposition. His horses always seem to be ready to run and live. He comes out of the Del Mar handicap, won by Gold Phoenix, which also was a D'Amato horse, was ready to go that day. So I think this was just a race filler there. So, they're putting him back into this allowance level, which he's been, knocking around in this level, running some good races here. He's 7-2 in the program, certainly dangerous here at Santa Anita and can get it done here. So we've got the 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 in the final race to cap off the pick 5. All right, now let's recap the day and recap the bets. Okay, so for Santa Anita on Saturday, October 11th, we've got 3 win bets and we've got a late pick 5. So we'll start off the win bet in the 3rd race with the 5 horse, the Rabbi. Go to the 5th race, start of the late pick 5. 3-7 with, 1-4 with, 2-4-6-7 with, 6 with, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. And then also we've got win bets in the 6th race on the 1 horse Total Val, and then the 8th race on the 6 horse I'm Not Vanilla Sky. So today that pick 5 ticket is a $40 play. I think it's worth it, to put $40 into that. And then we've got the 3 win bets. So if you decide to play the pick 5 as is, I wish you the best of luck. You can add or subtract to it if you'd like. If you want to just play those win bets, I'm wishing you the best of luck. Let's wish the folks over at Santa Anita a very safe day of racing today. And let's wish ourselves some good luck and some good trips. We will get some good results on these bets. So as always, I thank you so much for watching Fast Horses today and listening to the picks. Thanks to everybody who's hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate you. We've had some really increased audience lately. It's wonderful. If you haven't done so, hit that subscribe button. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, and delivers the content to you. You can always like, dislike, make comments. I promise to respond to everything. Let's have a great day at Santa Anita, and best of luck today.